It's Brooks with Access Control Forum. We're here with Shane from Rotary Gates Systems. So Shane doesn't come to Dallas that often, but when he gets a chance, he does come here, and we're going to talk about his product and how unique it is. So for you gate operator installers out there, it's a perfect opportunity to have another tool in your toolbox. And in my opinion, this is a tool that very few gate operators fill, and it could quite possibly be the determination between your customer going with the gate or not going with the gate, whether they can solve this problem, and then doing it economically. So I was intrigued about the gate operator system with the rack gear, because I'll be honest with you, the drive system, because it's not a chain driven system, we don't see too many of them in Dallas. So it's probably like a lot of gate operator technicians are like, oh, I don't know it, so let me just stay back from it. I don't want to actually get involved in something I don't know and get myself into a science project. Yeah. But as I did more research with the way that you guys have it set up, I found that it seems like it's pretty flexible, and it actually may hurt the one service thing that I do on all gates, how I get new customers, which is go lube their chain. Just say, hey, I'm going to go lube your chain, but there's none of that there. So maybe you could explain to us a little bit about why the rack gear system was chosen, why it's popular, and some of the flexibility with it.
Okay. So this particular rack gear setup was chosen by us just due to the extreme corrosive environment of the Gulf Coast. We had several customers who, no matter what we put in for them, nickel plated, stainless chain, whatever it was, you still had those chains rusting. Even stainless chain would still rust. So they would pay several $1 million for a house and then have a nice brown crease along their driveway. And it was unacceptable for a lot of these people. So the owner of the company had worked in machining for about 20 years and had experience in the automatic gate operator industry for probably 12 years up to this point, and just decided he could do something a little bit better and went with this particular setup.
So are we going to be able, during class, are we going to be able to turn this thing on and see it work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to have a fully functioning system with safeties and everything.
Gotcha. So during class, are you going to be able to explain to us the installation of the actual rack gear system and the installation of the motor assembly? Is that what you call it?
Yes, yeah, the actual operator of the motor assembly is separate from the control box. That thing is about 40 pounds. One person can honestly go out and install an operator system by themselves in about a day.
So I would imagine there's advantages of having the housing separated from the actual device that drives the gate.
You get quite a few advantages. A lot of it just has to do with the way the system looks. A lot of people don't like to see a big box sitting there, again, in front of a nice $1 million house. So if you can set this on a post that they're already going to have there, mount the operator or the motor assembly there, and then put the control box in their garage or hidden somewhere, it's going to be a lot more aesthetically pleasing. It's going to be easier for the technician to troubleshoot. It's one of those things you can do in the rain. A lot of operators, if it's raining out or something like that, you're just kind of out of luck. But aside from the motor itself, if you've got something you need to do, it can still be done comfortably and safely.
So that's the rack gear system is one part of the overall system that needs to be heavy duty for the corrosive environment. So now you're telling me that you've got at least two of the three components that are ready to go, which is the motor assembly. So the motor assembly, for the most part, it's good to go, all weather climates.
All weather climates, obviously not flooding, but rain, ice, snow, anything like that. The motor assembly itself is all manufactured out of billet aluminum and stainless steel hardware to put it together to keep it, again, from rusting or corroding.
So that's important to know. So if I want to weld this to the guidepost, it's either going to need to have an aluminum guidepost, or is the housing aluminum too that you actually bolt it to?
Yes, it is, but we do also offer a steel mounting plate. If you do want to weld it to the post, we can ship it with a steel mounting plate instead.
And does a plate come with the adjustments that I see here on this gate operator, or is it just a plate with just two bolts, or does the motor itself have the adjustment in it?
The motor itself has the adjustment in it. So there's going to be two plates. one that mounts directly to your post that's got your mounting hardware for the operator and the mounting hardware if you want to bolt through it or weld it on, however you want to do it. And then the plate that goes on the operator to keep everything aligned has your adjustment slots in there to allow for play or different setups to get into the gate.
Gotcha, and that's where your adjustment is. So it's not a finite installation. I don't have to be down to millimeters to be able to get the gear to match up to the rack gear system.
No, absolutely not. We've been doing this for about 20 years before Rotary Gates Systems was even a company. We understand that every installation is different and you're never going to have a perfect installation, so we allow for as much of that as possible.
All right, well, I noticed that we've talked several times and we never really talked about the hardware that you have. So I noticed that this is on here. This is not just on here for looks. So you guys manufacture your own hardware as well too?
Yes, we do. The brackets you see as well as the truck assemblies are both manufactured in Pensacola, Florida. You have a great warranty on it. Everything is done in-house. So any issues you have with the operator or our hardware, come straight to me. If you call for tech support, chances are you're going to get me on the phone.
So again, harsh weather climates, is that what this was designed for?
Yep, harsh weather environments. It's also manufactured a lot better than the cast aluminum or stainless frames that you get. A lot of companies get them from overseas. All of ours is machined on CNC equipment, so everything is exactly the same. Fits a very tight design that we have. All the dimensions on all of this stuff is within probably 5/1000ths of an inch.
Gotcha. So very, very tight tolerances.
Yeah.
So one of the things with this, and if nobody is familiar with this type of roller system, is that what you would call this in general?
Yeah,
Okay.
in general.
A lot of the gate operators here in North Texas are all wheel.
Like a V-track.
Yeah, V-track. Yeah, so, and then cantilevers, in trucking yards and stuff like that, we get, galvanized chain link and we get a cantilever gate,
Right.
if they've got enough room for it. So, will you be able to tell us the advantages and kind of explain to the mechanics during the class? Because I need to know, I'm sure a lot of other people need to know too, why it'd be advantageous to go with something like this. Because then ultimately, you are having to build 50%, not necessarily more gate, but it is going to have to be longer. You may not have the material in there, but you're going to need a long tail on this type of gate, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, it is an extra 50% at the end of it. You can do short counterbalances. The biggest thing is to make sure that whatever weight you have out at the end when the gate is fully closed, that it is fully supported by your support post in the back. And we can go over all of that and the advantages to having truck and track assemblies, which is the roller system that is used here. And a lot of that has to go with UL requirements as well of your gate running mostly level. And, a lot of the things with ASTM 2200 and UL also help out with.
Now, I've been hip to you guys now for the last 6 months or a year, and I noticed that you guys have some pretty high-profile installations here in Dallas. One of them being the Dallas Zoo.
Yes.
So, what did you guys do for them?
So our swing gate operator, which I don't have here, is very unique. There have been a couple of other companies who have tried to do something similar and it didn't work out. And again, Mike being a machinist for now 30 years, had the foresight to go in and make changes to it based on his experience for it. But it's an all-enclosed swing gate operator. Takes the place of your hinges on a normal swing gate operator. You don't have any of the arms or anything else, and that's exactly what the Dallas Zoo is looking for.
And I think that's the key. It takes the place of your hinges. And that's just going to be a tough concept for people to grasp. But one of the other advantages, and I'm sure you guys are aware of it, but I didn't see it promoted that well on the site. This now actually relieves, if you will, the pinch point of an arm or an actuator arm or a pivoted arm off of a common swing gate operator. So is that true?
Yeah, it does take out one or two of your entrapment zones,
Yeah.
as they're called, for your safeties. Unfortunately, UL doesn't look at it like that, so you still will need to find a place to put your safeties in there for obstructions, and it's not a bad idea to have anyway. But yes, it does take out the danger of that that entrapment zone.
Getting caught in between arm and something else or like that. So in theory, if I open that gate on your gate operator, if I don't have any obstruction behind it, considering your whole gate operator is the hinge, is that where the obstruction is? If there's something within 18 inches of, let's say it's fully open, such as the curb or bushes or anything like that, or do you still have to protect that opening area with an edge or something?
It's my understanding you still have to cover that, because when the gate opens, our gate operator will go more than 90 degrees. In theory, you can go 480 degrees if that's the kind of entryway you have. So yeah, that could still be a pinch point for somebody getting in there between bushes or building, a guardhouse or anything like that. So it's a good idea to always have the edge of your gate covered.
Gotcha. And I've noticed that one of the things that we have stipulated in some of the municipalities around here is that it be UL listed, but you guys are ETL listed. What's the difference between UL and ETL?
They're both nationally recognized by the federal government. UL writes the standards, ETL follows those standards to a T. They basically rewrite the exact same thing, put their logo on it, and it's nationally accepted. So for all intents and purposes, there is no difference between ETL and UL.
So it's fair to say that it doesn't change, if you will, anything. We're neither of us are making legal statements, but in essence, for the most part, if somebody said we had to have a UL listed gate operator and they put your gate operator in, for the most part, I mean, they're 99.99999% the same thing.
They are. And no inspector is ever going to say, well, that's ETL, not UL, and we're not going to pass it.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. Well, I think that tells us kind of the general idea of what we're going to do for class. Now, you're going to be teaching most of the morning. Is that correct? If
Yeah.
not all, the whole morning?
yeah, I don't know that we'll go all the way to lunch on my stuff, at least not just with my presentation. But I do want to go over our gate operators, our hardware, our access controls with Janice, the Wi-Fi weekend. I want to answer any questions that the guys may have. And I'm going to touch briefly on UL325 and ASTM F2200. I'm not going to go into a comprehensive class on those, but just kind of touch on the operators themselves, show them the pinch points, show them what they need to have, go over a little bit on monitoring obstruction devices, and then answer as many questions as I can for that.
Yeah, I think, and then also understanding even though on paper it's similar or the same, but understanding that one's maybe a manufacturing standard and one may be the actual installation standard. So, okay, well that's it. And I totally forgot about the Wi-Fi weekend. So, are you going to have a demonstration for us to where we can have some control going on? And
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have a full setup over here with a card reader and a Janus system. It's going to be working from about 800 miles away back in Pensacola, Florida, off of a access control over there, and let everybody take a look at it.
That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
most guys are rating it in miles or whatever the case may be, but because of the way that you guys designed it, the limitation is really just where you have Wi-Fi, and who doesn't have Wi-Fi?
Right.
Gotcha.
And then to the other end, it's limitless as long as you have Wi-Fi on the other end.
Gotcha. And we'll have to dive into that because from what I understand, you also have made recently possibly some software and maybe hardware changes, or are you going to allow us to drop that secret? Have you made some changes to the?
We have, and it's not available to dealers yet, but it will be, again, probably by the end of the summer or middle of fall at the very latest. The changes have been made, it just needs to be tested and everything else, and I really think the guys are going to like what we've done and appreciate it.
Cool. Are you going to be at FenceTech 2020?
Yes.
Are you guys going to have a booth? Oh yeah, you're going to definitely have a booth. I want to go.
Yeah, you're going to be in the booth with us. So
Yeah.
We're actually going to be caddy corner from the AFA booth and right across from Jameson Fence.
Oh, cool. And we may or may not have some big news to drop on tomorrow's training. So we'll see how the negotiations go tonight over dinner. So, all right, again, we have Rotary Gates Systems training sponsored by Rotary Gates Systems. We're going to talk about their very unique gate operator. And as Shane and I were talking earlier, sometimes this actually can be the difference between you actually getting a job and not getting a job. Not necessarily between you or your competitor. There might not be an application that a chain-driven gate operator can actually meet with tight tolerances from the back part of the gate, and this gate operator can do it with the unique rack drive system. So some guys may never have seen this before, so coming down to the class and actually see this thing operate. Now, if somebody wanted it locally, we have several distributors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that sell the product, and I believe you may have 1 or 2 displays set up.
Right. We do have a display at Southwest Automated here in Dallas. They can get you the operators.
Southwest Automated Security has been real supportive of these gate operators, so much so in their Dallas location, they have actually one of these set up with the Janus Wiegand Wi-Fi device.
Right.
So you can stop by there and take a look at it. So sign up on Facebook. That link will take you directly to the Facebook. If by chance you don't have a Facebook account, and we already have 3 people that don't have Facebook accounts, all you can do is just feel free to email me at michael@accesscontrolforum.com, and I'll put you down. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook or Rotary Gates Systems on Facebook. We both have pages, and just say, hey, we're coming, and this is the people's names that you need to put down. So we just have a few slots. So check out the link, and we hope to see you there.